I actually didn't think I was gonna play Go this holiday season, other than my standard correspondence games. But to my surprise, I actually played a game of Go, and on a physical board, no less. Pretty crazy. Well, there is this caveat that we didn't actually finish the game, so I guess technically I didn't play any Go. I did play Go, but I didn't play a full game of Go, other than my correspondence games. But I did more than I thought I would do, which is I actually got to grab a game with somebody, and it was none other than my arch rival and nemesis, Akira Toya, who was visiting over the break. And we were spending multiple days together, so he was interested in the Go bond that I had, and I pulled it out. And once you pull out the Go bond, and there are two Go players in the room, a game is bound to start. And so we did start. We got pretty deep into the middle game. One thing that I noticed was that he stopped playing a while ago, and never really got acclimated to the whole AI culture, and was playing a pre-AI style of Go. Definitely noticed right off the bat he was playing old Joseki ones that I don't see around very much anymore, and he cut a lot. I don't know if it's an attribute of him or if that was a thing back then too, but he's a violent player, I think. But he's allowed to be because he's quite good at reading. And we had a pretty interesting game, and one of our other friends who never played Go was actually quite interested in what we were doing, asking all these questions, and it was a great time. We had the board out on the table in our dining room, and it was just sitting there, and every time we would, in the beginning, we kind of just played like a normal game. But then once things got busy, we were just walking around, and every time we had a chance, we would put a move on the board, and we could kind of immediately tell whether it was my turn or his turn. But I'm hoping I can set up the board and resume the game via correspondence. It was like an in-person correspondence. I don't know if anyone else out there has tried something of the sort. I have thought about something like this where you leave a board out. I think people have done it with chess and things like and you have a sign normally saying whose turn it is, so you know whether your opponent has moved or not. We didn't really need that. We can kind of tell the state of the board. It was kind of another side note. If you guys remember, if anyone tuned in to the broadcast where I was commentating on the games for the California State Go Championship, I had a Go board laid out behind me, and I kind of kept it there for a while, just because it was nice to have out. I didn't have my Go board out for a while, and it's like a great way to inspire you to get back into Go. And I was studying a pro game, and I went like 50-something moves in, and my wife was noticing the board laid out and everything, and she was wondering if she moved one piece, would I be able to tell? And I was like, oh, for sure I'd be able to tell what you moved. And she was like, really? So I left the room. She moved one piece, 1 point, and I came back after a few seconds. I pointed at the stone, and I was like, is it this one? And she was really, really impressed. So if you're looking to impress somebody, go ahead and become good at Go to the point where you can recognize one move differences in a pro game. Well, it's not that hard, especially if you're kind of studying the moves and stuff. But the thing is, she chose a move that was a little more of a challenge than I thought. If she had kind of put something where it's in a captured state or something, that's super obvious, right? Or in the Joseki area, right? You change one move, the Joseki does not look right anymore, right? But she did make one change that turned a dog face into a horse face, if you know what I mean. Anyway, You're listening to Start Point, the show about Go for Go fans away from the board. Welcome back, everybody. It's 2026. I hope everybody had a great holiday season. Everybody celebrated whatever they celebrate, whether it's Christmas and New Year's and all the other ones. I really hope you guys had a great time, and I hope you didn't miss me too much over the break. I gave myself some time to just kind of get through the holiday. It's quite a an effort to just get through sometimes, and it helps to just not have this one other obligation on the table. So that's why I do that, and I hope you guys fared well without having my yammering voice in your ear during this time. But I'm back at it. I'm talking about Go. So today, I'm doing something that I normally do at the end of the year. In previous seasons, I've done this at the end of the year, but this season I'm doing it at the beginning of the next year. But we're doing a 2025 year in review. So that will feature, I'm going to go through my Spotify Wrapped. It's like, your Spotify artist wrap, or not artist wrapped, the like Wrapped that you get where it tells you all the music that you've been listening to all year. They have one for creators, and we'll just kind of share some stats with you. And then I'll react to the message I recorded for myself last year, and also then record a message for the next year. We'll do that. And then there's a little bit of a pile of listener mail. We'll see how much of it we can get through. But first, without further ado, let's get into the Spotify Wrapped. So apparently, audience for Startpoint increased by 11% from last year. Total new audience, 154% increase in new audience from last year. Total followers, 58% increase. These are really big numbers that I didn't expect. I thought we'd kind of like topped out, bottomed out. We've leveled out, and we've been kind of keeping it steady for a while, but it's surprising to see, the audience growing, and it's great. Welcome to Starpoint. Listening time, 305,000 minutes of listening, which is pretty crazy. That counts as 5,000 hours of listening, 212 days of listening, 30 weeks of listening, 6 months of listening. Now, imagining 6 months of y'all's time was spent listening to me talk to you is pretty crazy. But at the same time, I know you guys are all doing a lot of other things, so it's like split time, and you're just kind of like having my voice drone in the background. You might not even be hearing this right now. You might be too focused on something right now, and these words are just being lost into the ether of wherever you are. Or your brain or your subconscious. I may be speaking to your subconscious right now. I mean, that's what happens to me when I listen to podcasts. I listen to things, and then when later on I go back and I rewind because I wanted to like resume from a fresh state. I listen to this thing that I've already heard, and I'm like, I don't remember listening to any of this. I don't remember that detail. So anyway. That's enough speaking to you guys' subconscious. Wake up. I'm here. It's time to listen to the next part of the Spotify Wrapped thingy that I have here. The top episode from 2025 was episode 89, Answers from Don Players. That's a great episode because it was mostly other people doing the talking. I mean, I'm talking still, but I think that was a great episode. It's like, I should do that again, honestly. That was great because I had so many questions I needed to be answered. And then so many of you provided such amazing, insightful answers. And I should also listen to that episode again so that I can relearn what you guys have said. I think there are some insights in there that I've totally forgot about. That episode, Answers from Don Players, episode 89, was played 38% more than my average episode. Spotify says the most commented one was Go deserved better from Nintendo. I don't remember a whole lot of comments on that episode. Maybe there was like a bunch of game suggestions and things like that, but let's see what else we got. Greece left 10 comments. Thank you to Greece. And the most comments were left on June 16th, 2025. All right, this is the part I like, the listening passport. So 57 countries reached overall. This is always so fun to me to imagine all the different countries where people are listening from. Top countries, starting from number 5, Canada. Hello, hello, Canada. That's where I was born. Sweden, number 4. I don't know if I remember seeing Sweden so high up here before. Hello to Sweden. United Kingdom, number 3. Number 2, Germany. I recognize you, Germany, because I just remember Germany is a popular country for this particular podcast. I think I like to. I've never been to Germany. I don't know much about Germany, but I like to imagine there is a good board game culture in Germany, right? Because I think a lot of Euro games come from Germany. A lot of, and then there's this personality crossover where there's some match there with board games and things like that. And the number 1, obviously, United States, because this is an American podcast because I'm in the States, so it makes sense. Also, United States is quite big. Top fans assemble. I'm a top 10 show. Well, I shouldn't say I. The Starpoint has a top 10 show for 431 fans. Pretty good. Starpoint is a top 5 show for 329 fans. Oh, I'm saying I'm because Spotify is telling me I am. I don't think I am Starpoint. I think Starpoint is its thing, that it is a top show. I'm not a show. Starpoint is the number 1 show for 128 fans. If you are one of those 128 fans, I wish I could give you a cookie or something, because I very much appreciate it. Even if you're one of the top 5 show fan or top 10 show fan, like, I really appreciate all of you listening to the show. It always, like, I can never put my finger on the fact that, like, people are listening to this voice here talking about random stuff for leisure. That just kind of, it's never going to sink in totally for me, because I'm just kind of, again, yammering, but I'm not knocking it, right? Thank you so much for listening, and I hope I can be entertaining and insightful and all those things to you guys, and give you Go content, because that's really why I started this whole thing. I wanted Go content on the go. Go on the go. Maybe that could have been another name for the podcast. Go on the go. Your top fans streamed 2.9 times more than everybody else. 55% binged more than 2 episodes in one day. I know this is a thing because, like, people like to binge this podcast from start to finish, and sometimes have a very long extended period of time, and sometimes the episodes are a little short. Sometimes I get to 30 minutes, and you have more room for Starpoint. 25% hit play within 24 hours of a new episode drop. I like that. This is the kind of podcast listener I am. For some reason, when I consume content, I like to consume fresh content. I don't know why. A lot of these topics are evergreen and I can listen to them anytime I want, but there's something about, like, this has just been released that really appeals to me when I listen to content. And that's kind of how I structured this show. But people like to listen in whatever way they want to do. Oh, and this part is also fun. Top music artists of the people who listen to Starpoint. Let's see. I'm going to go from the top. Top artist, Kendrick Lamar. You guys like Kendrick Lamar? Wow, good taste. Good taste. But it's interesting how that's paired with Taylor Swift at number 2. I wonder if these are the same people or if there's like a split here. I listened to a little bit of Kendrick Lamar and maybe even less Taylor Swift. I listened to Taylor Swift by osmosis. Like, it's around me. Like, my wife listens to it, or I'm at the mall or something. Kendrick Lamar, I will intentionally listen to from time to time. I feel like I don't get in a Kendrick mood very often, but I love Kendrick Lamar. And then number 3, Johann Sebastian Bach. This is something I would like, if I were to come up with, like, what do you think a Go player would listen to? I would think Johann Sebastian Bach. He's very ordered, and the music is all organized, and I feel like his compositions are like a go board, and it makes sense to me that he's here. But it's also kind of funny squeezed in these pop influences, because right after that is the Beatles. And I mean, who doesn't love the Beatles? The Beatles, I mean, and Go. The Beatles go with anything, like whether it's Go or whatever. Linkin Park. I think this is just, and Linkin Park at number 5 is just kind of like an age indicator that you're in my generation. And you grew up listening to Linkin Park, and you like Linkin Park, and that's kind of like the thing that you like to listen to. And not a bad music list. I'm curious what other podcasts look like, and how much of it is influenced by just this is what people listen to, or this is what people in your audience listen to. I would like an insight that would be like, Starpoint listeners have an unusually high percentage of this artist's listeners. Just as a side note, I'd love to hear what you guys listen to other than these ones that I've seen here. I myself am a fan of like a lot of like folk, classic rock, indie rock. I like a lot of indie rock, indie pop, and stuff like that. But anyway, top audiobooks. Number 1, Wizard of Earthsea. I'm not a huge like fantasy book listener or reader, so I've never heard of this. I mean, I say that, but I've been trying to read through the entire Harry Potter series, which counts as fantasy, but I feel like it's its own corner. And I haven't heard of A Wizard of Earthsea, but apparently multiple listeners listen to this one, so it's something that Starpoint listeners enjoy. Number 2, learn Korean. Level 1 introduction to Korean. There is a learn Korean audiobook, I guess. That makes sense. Go is Korean adjacent. So I would have thought Japanese might have been the top type of like language audiobook for Starpoint listeners, but there it is, Korean on number 2. Number 3, Careless People. I've never heard of this book either. A cautionary tale of power, greed, and lost idealism. Number 4, The Siren's Call by Chris Hayes. And then Kitchen Confidential by Anthony Bourdain. That sounds interesting. I would actually put that on maybe. But yeah, those are the audiobooks most popular with Starpoint listeners. And here are the top podcasts. And what do you think number 1 is? Any guesses? It's All Things Go. If you missed it, I had a pleasure of commentating the California State Go Championship with the host of All Things Go, Travis. I'm sorry. Travis. And we had a blast. I think it was a great time. And number 2 is, I think this is just a factor of this podcast being super popular, the Joe Rogan Experience. Number 3 is one I've never heard of, the Exploring series. I've never heard of that one, nor have I heard of. I think I might have heard of Nerdcast, but very vaguely. And then finally, New York Times The Daily. So just standard things here. And then we have some awards that Spotify has given us. A 2025 marathon show. Fans listen to you for longer than 96% of other shows. That's because people who listen to Starpoint actually like to listen to Starpoint. I think I purge anybody else out, right? If you're just casually kind of stopping by with Starpoint, you're like, whatever. I'm not, that's Go. I don't know what Go is, but you Go players, you have nowhere else to go other than All Things Go and the Don and the Q, and basically that's it. So I assume if you're looking for a Go podcast, you're going to want to listen to the whole thing. You receive more comments than 97% of other shows. That's surprising. But I guess the listener mail section helps with that. I'm really happy to see that. I love the comments. I've said before, it's one of my favorite parts of doing this. 2025 most shared show. You received more shares than 85% of the shows. Man, these numbers are really high. That's really great. I really appreciate you guys. And that's the end of it. So, that's all really credit to you guys. Like, this is talking about all the stuff you are doing with Starpoint, whether you're sharing, whether you're listening all the way through or listening while you do things and binging and doing things like that. I really appreciate it. And I'm really happy that I found something to fill your time with and fill your background noise with and all that stuff. So it's just really good to see that it's happening. So I really appreciate every single one of you for listening to Starpoint. Would not do it if I've been doing this and there was nobody around to listen. So I really, really appreciate it, and really happy that I can provide this for you guys. Now let's go back, rewind back into the end of 2024, and listen to what I had to say about Go, what I'm wondering about the future. I don't remember anything. So I mean, let's get right into it. And I will now commence my message to my future self, and maybe we can make this a tradition. So, what am I curious about? I want to know, have you reached 1 Dan yet? I'm a 2Q on OGS, and so when I say 1 Dan, I'm talking about OGS 1 Dan. I've reached 1 Dan Fox. It's been a while. Okay, so no. The answer is no. I have not reached 1. I actually fell. I fell to 3Q on OGS. I haven't been playing enough lately for the ranking to balance out. I'd like to believe that if I played more games, I'd go right back up to 2Q. I think I'm kind of on the cusp. But unfortunately, I fell down a little bit on OGS. And these yearly recaps are really a reality check for me, because it just shows you like how much time has passed since you were at a certain rank. And I've been I haven't gotten 1 Dan on OGS, but I have gotten 2 Dan on Fox, which I hadn't done before. So there's that. There is that. I've been pretty stuck. Maybe in the past year, my rank has gone from 3Q to 2Q. I think that was my progress, which is actually great. I don't know if that's something I would have expected of myself halfway through the year, because 3Q to 2Q seems pretty difficult actually for me. Like, I was very stuck. So I wonder, where are you in your rankings? Please don't say 2Q, because I would hope that we can continue climbing. Bro, you gotta lower your expectations. You mean you had like a wedding coming up and everything and moving and stuff like that? I mean, come on. I'm still where you are. I'm actually worse than where you are, so I'm sorry. But I don't think I've gotten worse. I think maybe I'm a little tactically rusty, but I feel like I'm continuing to understand the game a little better, and maybe one day my rank will reflect that. So just be patient, and maybe I shouldn't be so tough on myself next year. But yeah, and I also, one thing I did remember from last year is that I think it was that Sadaharu asked me if this was really me last year and how I sound really different. It's not because I had a cold or I went through puberty or anything, but I put a slight filter on the other voice so that you can tell when I'm talking in commentary and when I'm rewinding back. If anybody else was confused about that. But I understand if you're still 2Q, don't sweat. Or if you're even lower than 2Q, then let's not talk about it. Wow. I mean, I was hopeful when you said no sweat, and then, well, it's back to work. It's back to work for me. But I want to know that. I want to know, what else do I want to know? I don't know. I don't know if I have any other questions for myself other than what rank are you? Maybe another question is, do you think your style has changed over the past year? My current style, I would say, so I'm playing 4/4s and I am playing for influence most of the time. And although I love complicating things, uh, well, actually, that's just about it. I like complicating things and I like fights, and I have not really been convinced by the conservative defensive style of play because although I know there's value in it that I need to learn and be aware of, I've gone back into my old ways of just trying to complicate things and try to catch someone off guard with the reading and things like that. I mean, of course, I am smart about it. I'm not like I try to start a fight no matter what. But when I'm given the option of cutting or not cutting or something like that, I tend to go for the aggressive stuff. Okay, there's a bit to unpack there. So my first reaction was that I don't remember what my style was, so I can't tell you if it's changed. But listening to that description, I think, well, first of all, I am still playing Star Points. But my brain is kind of going like, maybe I'll go back to playing 3/4s or something. But yeah, overall, still playing kind of like favoring influence and all that. But when my past self started going more into describing how I like to complicate things, I don't know if that's quite me anymore. I feel like I am looking more at larger strategies, and the complication sometimes just comes out, and I don't necessarily try to force complication. Does that make sense? I don't know. I feel like I don't really seek it, although I do this thing, especially with correspondence games, where I try to endlessly read something that doesn't work because I have the time to do it. But other than that, I feel like I try not to complicate things too much anymore. Maybe that's an advancement for me. But I feel a little more higher strategy conscious than before. Trying to anticipate things more. I don't know. I don't know if that's a style thing, but. And that's always led to the more interesting and satisfying games for me. And I'm wondering, are you still like that? Are there any episodes of Starpoint that you've done over the past year that I may have not ever seen coming? Like any kind of topics or interesting things that I've done? That's a great question to ask because, in fact, I have done some stuff that I had never imagined doing, like commentating a Go tournament and doing an episode on that. That definitely was not in the blueprint. As for episodes that I've done that I didn't think I would have done, maybe what would SpongeBob's Go rank be was an episode I didn't think I would have anticipated back then. I need to peruse my episode list to see what I've done since back then. Let's see, we've done. I think there's a lot of stuff here that I couldn't see coming until the moment I thought of it, like empty triangle math, like that one, episode number 78. I mean, that's kind of out there, right? Let's see, my Go equipment episode. Wow, I did that in 2025. Oh, Lidgate. Lidgate was kind of crazy. That episode number 71. Yeah, I mean, I feel like a lot of these episodes are kind of stuff that I couldn't really foresee that I could do. I didn't expect to be able to watch The Match, the movie. I was anticipating that so much, and I don't think I would have expected that to have come out in 2025. So that's like definitely something I would tell my old self, like, hey, The Match is coming out this year, and it's okay. The movie's okay. Have you gone to any more tournaments? I know you've got a busy year coming up, so maybe a lot of things might have to take a back seat in terms of Go. But I want to know what kind of major events happen. So for me, a lot of the major events were like the tournament that I went to, the LA Open, where I won my first, little award for being, what was it, third place in my section? And having guests on Starpoint, just all the amazing listener mail that I've received over the year. It was, and the amount of support that I got from the community. Yeah, I mean, I think I mentioned most of the stuff, like having, I think I also had, I think after this, I like pretty soon after, I did the episode with Sean and Tin doing the blind Go game, which was pretty fun. And then again, the commentating thing, and yeah, Go did have to take a little bit of a backseat, got super busy during the wedding and after as well. So it wasn't able to go to any tournaments, unfortunately, but again, commentated one. So that's pretty good. Go big happenings. Like the two Dawn, I got to two Dawn this year, right? Or this past year, right? I think so. It seems kind of recent. Other than that and the commentating and the match coming out, yeah, I've pretty much mentioned a lot of big things. Oh, Lysadol in Devil's Plan. That was pretty cool, right? I guess a lot of interesting Go things happened this year. I want to know, have you gotten any new Go books? Have you gotten any new Go equipment? Please no, because I have plenty enough already. Have you convinced any new people to play Go? I'm putting all these questions out there, and I'm betting my future self is saying, no, stop asking me these questions because I haven't done any of that. No, you know what? Actually, well, first of all, I didn't get any new Go equipment as far as I remember, or any new Go books. Wait, does printing your own Go book count? Because I think I printed Shape Up this year. I don't think it counts. Psh, no, it doesn't count. So not really. And by the way, I have not touched Shape Up. And I actually were able to introduce Go to somebody new when, like I said, during the holidays when my friend was over. He was asking a whole bunch of questions, and he grabbed my book that I still haven't read, Go with the Flow by Cho Eun-yeon, off my shelf and started reading and started telling me about Cho Eun-yeon and how he was like a Korean Go master and stuff. And I was like, yes, I do know about that. And I'm surprised that you're getting so far into this book when I haven't even touched it yet. And you're just kind of chilling here with this book. So yes, some Go exposure. It's incredible, right? It's like you don't know what to expect every year. Like you can assume things don't happen. You can assume things do happen, and it's all flipped and upside down, and it's just never really accurate to what you imagine. So take that, past self. I will stay humble this year and not think that things won't or will happen. But I have to say something, right? Yeah, I don't know. I don't have much. Maybe the little segment will be short next year, but overall, I am doing okay in my game. I am still trying to figure out where my problems are. I haven't been playing to study as much lately. I've been more just casually. We've been playing the correspondence games, but when the time comes in a correspondence game to try, I definitely try to put in the effort to read and play the best move possible. And I have a troublesome time with resigning and giving up and knowing when I'm down and trying to make sure that I feel like I have enough. I feel like even when I'm ahead, I don't have enough, and I'm trying to squeeze all the value out of all the positions on the board. That's the kind of mental state I'm in right now. And I hope to have a more balanced approach in the future, but only time will tell where my style will go, and I'm looking forward to where this Go journey takes me. You know, I've been blaming the wedding and moving and things like that, but in reality, the thing to really blame for my lack of Go improvement is getting a Switch 2. I've been just sinking all my hours into that. I didn't have an original Switch, so I've been catching up on some stellar original Switch titles like Breath of the Wild. And it's taken some of my time, and maybe putting Go in the back seat. But you know, I was in like a whole thing about improving things like Spanish and guitar and things like that, and things will just resurface over time, right? I don't know why, but recently I've been just back into picking up the guitar and practicing it again. And so I'm like, what has possessed me to do this? I don't know. And I feel the same thing will happen with Go. And I'm not worried. And it's a hobby. It's not like a responsibility. And sometimes it can feel like one. But it's something you do because you enjoy it. And honestly, you go through different phases in life. There was a time when I was super into, getting the Switch 2 and everything and playing all that stuff. It's taking me back to childhood. It's taking me back to like when I was really excited for games and anticipating new titles coming out. But somehow I left that era of my life and I was not into games. That happens. That just happens. Some people are super consistent, maybe. They stick with something and they just love it till they die. But I'm not like that. I feel like I'm a little more of like, I like variety. I like to change things up. I like to shift gears, shift hobbies. And so you never know. And I feel like maybe Go will pop back into my life naturally, or I will force it maybe if I feel like I need to. But overall, I want to be able to enjoy it. And one thing I wanted to note about my closing comments there on where I was at, and I think that there is this mechanical skill level kind of knowledge-based track of Go improvement, but alongside that track is another parallel track that can be almost described as a spiritual Go improvement track. And that's where you do all the improvement that involves making sure you're not greedy, making sure you don't feel like you need more when you have enough. And I feel like I've grown a lot in that track this past year, because listening to myself saying, I feel like I need more even though I have enough, I feel like I've been able to kind of control that part of the game a little bit more and look at a game and say, is that enough? And have a more balanced and objective approach to that and not be so afraid. This past game that I played with my arch rival and nemesis, Akira Toya, he had a large moyo, and I think I would have normally been worried about that. But I kind of knew that just being so forceful and aggressive and invading and things like that, it often leads to the wrong result. And so I was more measured, and I kind of was able to reduce the moyo to a point where I wasn't so scared of it anymore. And I feel like I have grown in that way. Even though I haven't been playing as much Go, I think you can still grow in your game. And maybe that's why sometimes taking a break from Go can help you, because it allows you to mature in that regard a little bit more, so that you can go back and apply your mechanical improvements as well. Because I think if you're so focused on the mechanics of the game, that you can get to a point where you just let your greed take over and you're very reckless because you're focused on tactical things, you're focused on all the little things, and that you don't quite see the whole picture as well. Okay, so there's that. That's my reaction to last year. And of course, I have to set up the next year so that I have something to react to next year in 2027. Whoa, what the heck, 2027? So I guess I'll ask a lot of the same questions, but like, have you done something with Starpoint that is unforeseen? Have you done any interesting episodes? Having more guests on? Have you done something out of the box? Have you done something different with Starpoint this year? And I've already said what I did last year, and I guess I should repeat it because I'm not going to listen to that other part next year. The comment, I've said it so many times already, the Go commentating that I did for the pro tournament, or not the pro tournament, the championship. I had guests on in the early part of the year, like Sean and Tin, playing that blind Go game. What else did I say? I mean, I just did my standard stuff, but there was a mixed bag of interesting episodes, like the SpongeBob Go Rank episode. I assume I will have done a second part of that, or like another round of that, because that was just cartoon characters. This idea can go on forever and ever. So I'm wondering, what did you do in that line of episodes? Do you have any Go New Year's resolutions? My current Go resolutions would be, I don't know. I don't, I'm not really big on resolutions because I'm big on committing to habits rather than deciding on a single resolution. But if you put me on the spot and I had to come up with one, you know what I'll do? I want to read Jo Yun's Go With The Flow this year, at least. That's one thing I do want to do. So here's a guilt trip check. Have you read it? Let's see. What else do I want to do? I want to reach 1 dan on OGS. I don't know if I can do that this year. Maybe I can if I work hard. I really want to. Okay, let's set the goal. Let's set the bar lower, because last year I set the bar like very low and I didn't reach it. So can you get to OGS 1Q? That's what I want. Well, OGS 1Q is fantastic. That would be great. Okay, OGS 1Q, Fox 3 dan maybe. Oh man, I'm probably shaking my head. I said I would be humble and not assume what the next year will bring. So I don't know if I'm shaking my head. It may or may not be. Did your wife play a game with you? Because she said she would, and she hasn't yet. So I'm asking you, did your wife finally play a game with you? A question I wrote that I guess is a little more reserved, instead of me asking for Fox 3 dan, is, did you drop from 2 dan on Fox, and did you bring yourself back up to 2 dan? Because as soon as I reached 2 dan on Fox, I haven't played on Fox. So I assume when I go back in, I'm just going to drop back down to 1 dan. And once I do, I'm going to play a lot to get back up. And if I'm successful, maybe I'll keep going, and then I'll reach 3 dan. That would be good. How many correspondence games have you got going? I have 3 right now. I'm taking it slow right now. I'm being kind of modest in my correspondence collection, which is one of my excuses for why my rank hasn't moved, because I just haven't been playing games. So Akira Toya taught me a new Joseki, an ancient Joseki from the age of pre-AI. And do you remember that Joseki? The low, just to give you a refresher, it's a low pincer cut Joseki starting from the 3-4 point. Do you remember it? I don't think I do, because I barely remember it as it is right now. So maybe I'll go and review it so that I can remember it for next year's year in review. Okay, this is a good question to ask, I think, because I feel like I was able to share some stuff here. But have you got any new insights into Go? Because this year, looking back on last year, I can really see how my mentality has shifted. And I think that's probably the most interesting part of this recap for me, is hearing myself talk about my struggles in Go and what they are, what it feels like. I think that it's a little harder for me to speak right now. I haven't played many live games lately, but overall, I do feel a relaxing in my strategy and a zooming out and considering bigger points and feeling more like a general lately. I think that's what this year was really about, is kind of zooming out and understanding larger strategy points, making decisions that will benefit you in the long run. That's kind of the stuff that I'm into right now. I think I still kind of make silly mistakes. I am a little careless sometimes. Sometimes I lose focus, especially in correspondence games. I make moves that are a little bit like too quick without really verifying everything. I do that too much. It's a bad habit of mine. So while I have kind of zoomed out and applied larger strategy and become wise in my ways, I've also become unwise in my ways, careless and reckless and things like that. Not in like large strategy decisions, but I think overall I've been lacking a little discipline in placing down moves. And, putting more care into each stone is something that I think I want to work on for this coming year. So I think those are, that's a good little message to myself next year. I'm also, maybe one more question. How much Go have you played this year? Because I'm concerned right now, because I played a good amount of the earlier half of 2025, but it slowed down quite a bit. So I'm wondering, has it been able to pick back up, and have you played a lot? Were you able to pry yourself away from the Switch 2 and play any Go? That's what I want to know. So there's my message for 2020. Well, depending on whether I do it at the end of the year or beginning 2026 or 7. Don't mind that pause. I didn't pause for any particular reason. But anyway, that's that. I'm wondering how many of you are in a Go lull, where you're not really playing much Go, but you still love Go, and that's why you're listening to this podcast, and it's a way of staying connected to the Go world. I don't blame you, but I feel like a lot of us go through these in and out phases of Go. I've heard it from multiple people. Go is a very taxing and difficult game, so it just happens, and it's hard to keep your gas on the pedal for very long. I remember back when I was doing a game a day, right, on Fox, one game a day. I had a couple reactions of like, wow, that's intense. It's just one game a day. It's really not that intense, right? But it is a reaction you get sometimes when you say that that's what you're doing. And it sounds daunting now to me, right? Because I'm not doing it right now, and it sounds like a commitment. But at the time, it didn't feel like such a big thing. I was like, I was doing bare minimum, just one game, one day. It's not that hard, especially if you compare it to other games like people who play League of Legends or Counter-Strike or Valorant or something. They play hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours a day, right? Especially if you don't have a job. But even if you have a job, you play multiple games a day, and it's like it takes a few hours of your evening, and that's and people don't really bat an eye at that. But for Go, I don't know, it takes a lot for me, just one game, especially if you take it super seriously. But you go in and out of these phases, and it's okay to do that. And I set a goal for myself to reach one down a long time ago, and in a way I have reached it, in a way I have not quite reached it the way I want to. So it's a lifelong goal. I don't really feel like I have a deadline, but that's the kind of thinking that will prevent me from reaching it. So I better get back on track at some point. But it's time for the DDK Advice Corner. So the tip of the day, it's related to something I just said: reduce a dangerous moyo. Now, when you see a big moyo like I did in a previous game, you're going to feel scared. You're going to feel like, I got to do something now or I'm going to lose. I am losing right now unless I invade. Don't be so scared. A moyo is not territory. A moyo or a framework is like, it's almost like a threat, right? It's like, bam, I'm here to scare you. I can take all of this, right? It's like a threat. It's not an empty threat, even though it is empty. But I think you need to be a little brave to try to reduce something rather than outright invade it when you're scared of it. It's a challenge, right? This is a part of the emotional development that I was talking about, emotional, spiritual development in your Go game that I was talking about, where you look at a moyo, you're scared of it, so you feel like you have to invade it. And it's actually braver to try to reduce it, because you think that going in and invading it is brave. Well, I don't know. I think it's harder to restrain yourself and actually say, you know what? I'm going to try to reduce it. And once you are able to reduce it, you will be surprised at what the moyo now looks like, what it used to look like and what it now looks like after reduction. It's a different beast altogether, and you won't really be able to experience it unless you have that brave moment of reducing it. And don't blame me for losing your game because you decided to reduce instead of invade, because that is a disclaimer applied to all episodes of Starpoint. Don't blame me for your losses. But that's time for listener mail. Okay, we got a fat pile of mail. I don't think I'm going to get through all of it. So if you are waiting for me to read your comment, I will get to it maybe next episode. But let's read a couple here right now. Andy writes, "Hi Justin, it was interesting to hear you talk about enhancing video streams of Go games with configurable information. You talked about having commentary on or off, various visualizations over the board, and different camera views that might be interesting to different segments of the audience. I really appreciate the recap because not only does the audience maybe not know what you're talking about when you guys write in for listener mail, I often have trouble remembering what I said. Continuing. I worked at BBC Research and Development for quite a long time, and the idea of a configurable user experience has been a research theme for many years. In my opinion, the key reason this technology isn't more widely available is that it must be supported through every part of the chain, from the content creation tools or production tools if you're a broadcaster, through all the pre-processing workflows, the distribution chain, and whatever the user needs to view the finished product. All those need to be heavily adapted to permit the kind of customization you were discussing." Yes, I totally understand why, and I definitely understand the limitations to all of this. It's like even for a Twitch stream, like a Twitch is a very tech-heavy company. For them to commit to that, to be able to allow interactive, even one little change to Twitch is a huge deal. So it's not very easy to be that nimble and transfer over. It's like even more likely that a separate streaming platform would pop up with these capabilities rather than Twitch implementing them. I mean, look at YouTube, look at other things like that. They don't really like to go crazy with the changes and change the user base, change too much of the things, and especially if they're established. So totally get it. And that's only one part of it. And like you mentioned, there are so many different parts in a chain. So yeah, it's tough. On BBC iPlayer in the UK, some sports events now have a feature with the code name Chapters and Moments. If a user is watching live on iPlayer, they can see markers on the timeline showing interesting events like goals in football/soccer. I think that in the US, football games also have some interactive features. The point here is that it's very high-end content where lots of money is involved, that these features are just beginning to creep in. I think that it will still be some time before there are tools that are easy enough to use for small media niches just such as Go streaming. Actually, when I watch hockey games, the normal app that I use doesn't have much in terms of these features, but every now and then there's an out-of-market game I don't know what the term it is, but like a national game rather, right? And it's streamed on some other platform, and I go switch to that platform, and they have what you're talking about, where you can go to these points of interest. Obviously, no camera controls or anything, which would be crazy, but yeah, there's a little bit of that now, right? And I mean, yeah, totally. But at the same time, we can have a more grassroots kind of approach to this rather than a top-down approach, where we have plenty of capable Go developers who can kind of support something like this maybe. And I've definitely seen it in my experience working with Paduc Club. They have some awesome stuff set up for the streaming process, although it is like I don't know what the term is, but like before it hits the stream kind of thing. So, I mean, I don't know. You could kind of imagine some guy going, you know what, I'm a developer and I love Go, so I'm going to create a platform where people can commentate and do this and do that and make this like little thing. And once we do it, it's like, we don't need those other platforms. We can just use our own thing here. And this has been built for us, and other people like Chess will look on and say, hey, you know those Go people, they did this, and this is cool, and I like it, and it would be great to have for Chess. Once it gets to Chess, then it spreads up, and then it trickles on upwards rather than downwards. Not that any of that will ever happen, but I mean, it doesn't hurt to dream. At the end of the episode, you asked if we watch live games. I don't, but I would like to. I find it very hard to find out when a live game will be broadcast. I know there are notifications on OGS and other places that indicate a live stream is happening now, but that's not much use to me. I want to carve out an hour or more to watch a live game. I need to plan that into my day. Do you know of anywhere that publishes a schedule of oncoming streams with links to watch them? I once found a nice schedule of Korean professional games with nothing that said where to watch. I couldn't find a YouTube channel or Twitch stream for the website Why? Anyway, a schedule with links would be great. As always, thanks for the great podcast, Andy. Well, thank you so much for your kind words and for writing in all those insights. That's very interesting. In terms of your question about where to watch live games, I know that some of the Korean stuff that you find on YouTube has a regular schedule. I don't know it personally, and I'm sure there are people who are pro game watchers in the comments of Starpoint. So hopefully maybe somebody can point you in the right direction of certain schedules and things like that. But it is admittedly hard to keep up, especially with international news of certain tournaments coming up and things like that. So it is hard, a little bit hard to do that. And another reason why it's hard to watch live games is kind of like, how much are you gonna like want to sit down and watch a Go game and dedicate your whole brain to that when you could be doing other things? Like, I'm not trying to be like negative here, but you know, Go is slow. It's slow, and it's like, it's just, you're sitting there, you're watching these stones, and they're just kind of, especially if it's in a different language, it can be very like hard to watch. You know, I mean, you could even just be playing Go, right, rather than watching it. And if you try to put it in the background, like, it doesn't really feel like watching it anymore. You're just hearing people talk about it, and it takes a lot of mental energy to even watch a game. So, yeah. Anyway, thanks again, Andy. And then Eric Lee, not the top U.S. amateur. The famous not the top U.S. amateur Eric Lee says, there are a few incidents that, in my opinion, gives me at least some insight into Shin Jin-seo's the player and person. It's true that he is not colorful as Keje, but there's a clip of his opponent going to play a move and slipping and dropping the stone onto the board into the wrong spot. They instinctively went to move it, but of course you can't, so they just pulled their hand back. Shin Jin-seo looked at them and asked if they meant to place the stone in a different spot, then moved it for them to the position they intended to play it and continued playing. You know, that's just, you know, honestly, basic courtesy, I think. It would be funny if he was disqualified for touching his opponent's stone. That would be a true Lidgate moment there. But I think you got to really look at the intent, right? I mean, come on, like, if somebody drops a stone, there's got to be a rule for that, right? The whole letter of the law thing really should apply in this situation, or rather not apply. The spirit of the law should apply as much as possible before conflict occurs. So, I mean, yeah. Recently, he had a show match versus Chejung, 3 games. In one game, I would have watched that if I knew about that. In game 1, he had over 40 minutes left on the clock, while Chejung was down to roughly 7 or 8 minutes. In the middle game, Chejung got up and left the board on her turn. After several minutes passed, with 4-ish minutes remaining on her clock, Shin Jin-seo paused the clock and waited over a minute for her to return to the board. Wow, really? That is next level, honestly. I don't know. Are you allowed to do that? Are you even allowed to do that? I definitely respect the character of someone who does things like this. It feels like he has a very pure view of Go and Go competition. It's really up to the top players to show this. It really is. I think that there is a little bit of like, since I'm winning, since I'm good, since I'm the best, I can afford to show courtesy type of thing is I think a little bit there sometimes. But it is their responsibility, and not everybody does that, right? Like, not every top player of something will show this kind of courtesy and be polite about this. So it's great and refreshing to hear that. I think it's also the responsibility of a pro to, you know, be on top of it, right? Chejong shouldn't really like be neglectful of her time like that. So, but you know, very kind of Shin Jin-seo to consider that. And as Go players, we should really be as etiquette-y. It's probably the worst way to describe it. Show as much etiquette as possible. And like, what is that? John Locke? Is it John Locke? Who said, if men were angels, there would be no need for government. Go should really just be Go, right? All these rules, this timing rule and stuff, and the technicalities of things. These are like structural implementations in place to hold us together and from being like evil and cheating and abusing things. And it would be better if there were guidelines, right? Just, hey, just respect your opponent's time, and don't take too long, right? If you're just like, don't take too long and play your game of Go, people would take hours and days and years to make their move so that they could win, right? So unfortunately, we have to apply a little bit of rule into the game, and we forget that the rule isn't, that the meta game isn't as important as the main inside game of Go itself. So to try to ignore the technicalities as much as possible and try to get to the core of the heart of the amazing game of Go that we have here. And to preserve that, I mean, that's what you have to do. Shinjin Sa does here, and kind of say like, you know what, she would have lost, but we're playing Go, right? She got up, she left the table, and she's gonna be back. It's not like she's giving up, so I'm gonna just be respectful and stop her her clock for her. I personally wouldn't do it because I don't even think I even know if I'm allowed to touch my opponent's clock. But hey, you know, if it worked out, and if it was a show match, especially if it's something that people are looking forward to watching, and you don't want it to get spoiled, right? I think everybody kind of gets on the same side there. And just knowing what the intent of people's moves are and following that rather than being all like legislative and saying like, look, your stone is a few millimeters off of the point, and it's actually past the halfway point between these two stones here, so it has to be this move. I mean, that kind of stuff can come up if somebody is being dishonest and like, oh, oopsie doopsie, I dropped my stone here. Well, I guess that's my move. Or, you know, that's kind of like, if someone's trying to trick the system and you can kind of tell, or if there's some doubt, then yeah, maybe there's like a little bit of, and that's kind of what Lidgate was about, right? Because there's some dubious motivations maybe involved there, which is why these rules are in place, and which is why I guess you have to do two things. You have to respect the rules, but you also have to respect the spirit of the game, and it's sometimes it's hard to do that, but overall, not really. Also, Eric kindly provided links of the stuff he's talked about. I will watch this, actually. Maybe not now, but I will link this into the description so you guys can see what he's talking about for yourself, and maybe I'll talk about it next week if I remember to. I still got a bunch of stuff and comments to go through, but I'm going to wrap it up here since it's a backlog listener mail episode. So next week I will try to cover the rest of it. A question of the week this week is, how was your Go year? How was 2025 in Go for you? Do you have any resolutions or plans? Did anything interesting or big happen in Go for you? What do you want to expect from yourself next year? So if you want to share your thoughts on that, as always, leave a comment wherever you found the episode, or email me directly at starpointpaduk@gmail.com. That's starpointbaduk@gmail.com. If you're listening on YouTube, I would greatly appreciate a like and a subscribe. If you're a podcast listener, reviews and ratings also help. Very, 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 very special thank you to James B., Brendan S., Tristan, Jeff H., and Tyraniton for supporting Starpoint. Thank you guys so much. And if you want to support the show in any capacity, you can go to kofi.com/starpointpaduk. That's KO-FI, or check out the Starpoint store at store.starpointpaduk.com. And come on to the Discord. The water's warm. The link is in the description. Alrighty. Sometimes, Go stones are not really animate. Well, like, I'm comparing it to chess, and chess pieces are also not animate. They are inanimate. But they actually have faces and stuff, and so you kind of imagine them more as like little people. But Go, you kind of lose it. But I was thinking, like, what would they sound like? What would my Go stones sound like if they could talk? And I think I realized that if my Go stones could talk, they would sound a little like this.
Hephaestus has been captured, my lord. Everyone's been captured. I've been captured. Hey, what's the glass?
Bonus points if you know what that is from. Thanks for listening. Keep playing Go.